We're back once again. This is the Horns Up Talking Texas podcast. So get your horns up because here we go. Horns Up Talking Texas podcast. I'm Joshua Fisher along with Alexander Desopoulos, Nicholas Snacks Crider, and the Quan Cosby. Quan, good to have you back, man. We know you're on vacay in Florida. We were holding down the fort for you, talking a little hoops. How was vacation, dude? Was it nice?
You know, it was vacation / a little bit of work. You know,
okay.
We were there for 3 days and golfed a little bit. It was pretty great, honestly. I actually, speaking of, the games we saw this weekend, I was in Tampa. I started in Naples and then we went up to Tampa to play a really cool course there called Old Memorial. So I was standing right outside the stadium, let me see, during the week, and then the big game happened this weekend. So no complaints. I came back to Texas and it was 30 miles per hour winds and 40-degree weather. And I left Florida and it was 75 and 2 miles per hour wind. So
jeez,
it was rough. Rough coming back, but no, great trip, man. Appreciate y'all holding that down as well.
Yeah, always, man. I picked my parents up from the airport at LAX on Sunday, and my dad in his USC gear, which is like, what a fair weather fan. Like everywhere we go to Arizona, he's rocking the Arizona. We go to Texas, he's rocking Texas gear. It's just like, whatever floats his boat. He was complaining because my sister had told him it was cold, and he gets off in a sweatshirt and he's like carrying my mom, my other sister's suitcases, and he's like sweating bullets because he's got like this huge USC hoodie on. And he's like, it's like 70 degrees out in Los Angeles, and it's gorgeous. We go to the beach in January. It's ridiculous.
Isn't that one of the good things about, well, hopefully, I don't know, looking forward to becoming a dad, so that hopefully my kids end up going to college and I get to pick and choose
multiple teams
along with Texas who else I want to root for, and then I can kind of just rotate, right? Whoever is winning is who I like the most.
Well, his kids picked a bad stretch of teams in recent years.
Yeah, his kids suck for sure.
I was about to say, do I want to root for the other ones?
We're going, you know what though? Arizona basketball, who on our other podcast, our sister pod, the Charity Stripe, I for years have always said Sean Miller is one of the worst great recruiter, one of the worst X and O coaches or overrated, in college basketball. He's gone. Arizona's got a new head coach this year, and they're number 3 in the nation. They're killing it. We're going to the game tomorrow. They're playing, or tonight. We're releasing tomorrow, so it's Tuesday. We're going to the game against UCLA. They're letting fans back in, so we're going to go see them play. But yeah, I mean, USC hopefully will be a bit better. And obviously, I got off the phone today with a guy who's a Mississippi State fan, covers Mississippi State. I was talking to him, and he was, talking about how Texas is going to win baseball, which is great to hear from the Mississippi State fan. Trying to give us like the little pat on the back. I mean, they're awesome, but like
they took us out last year.
Yeah, exactly. Y'all get it. It's like y'all get it next time. He's saying we were the best team in Omaha he had last year. And we were kind of discussing that. I mean, this basketball team has so much talent. And Quan, you were at the game against OK State, and we squeaked it by. It just seems there's certain times in the game where we're unbelievable, have the best 5 in the court, and there's other times in the game where we go stretches of not just 1 or 2 minutes or 5 or 6, 7 minutes. We just can't.
We went a 10-minute stretch last game of no scoring. And then we scored a little bit. And then with even the last, I think, 6.5 minutes, true basket, we only scored 1. Now, the good thing is this. We were driving, and at least the reason we were able to get the win is we were driving, they got in foul trouble, and we hit our free throws, which is awesome. Like, we were really, really high free throw percentage. But it's really hard for me to understand a 10-minute drought when you start off the game 13-0. So I think you said it best. It's like, one, sure, they're still super new. There's going to be some development. You can see that kind of piece of it. 2, listen, I'm not been to a practice, but everyone says they're afraid to make a mistake because once you make a mistake, you get yanked. And so they're being so freaking careful and not necessarily playing loose all the time. But we have some players, man. They once they put it together, it's gonna be pretty sweet. Now, the other thing, we're the freaking Big 12. Big 12 is arguably the best freaking basketball conference right now. So
it's crazy.
That makes it a little bit tough, but I feel like if we can put it together like we do when we have those runs, just a bit more, consistent, there'll be a hell of a team. We just haven't. I mean, that's just no way around it. We just have not done it consistently.
I want to I want to push back a little bit on what you said about us being able to score in the last 10 minutes of the game, because in the game against Kansas State, where we lost by 1 point, it would have behooved us to have gone to the free throw line in the last 5 minutes of the game. So I think we've learned from our loss. And yes, the ball wasn't going into the basket, but you have to figure out other ways to put points on the board. So I think you got to give a little bit of credit to Beard and what he's telling these guys and inspiring them to do. That's how it's always going to go, or at least for majority of games in college basketball. The defense is going to be a little, they might start off the game engaged and defending, but guys are also, they're fresh. They've got their fresh legs. They're ready to attack the basket. They're hyped up from the game. They're not tired. The shots are going to fall. The legs are there. So I think that's how a lot of games start off in college basketball. And it always gets tough at the end of the game to score a bucket. So you got to be able to grit out wins. That's what this was. But to your point, Josh, that you made earlier about the talent, we should be beating these teams by more, right?
Oh yeah,
At home too.
Well, and I think it's not so much, and I agree. I mean, two things. I was talking to the group I was with, and I said, man, it's so weird. You know, sure, we have some decent, different players, but I mean, I think we're like freaking 95% from free throw line. So I was like, that is awesome. That's how you win games. What is a problem is the fact that I think we had 6 to 7 clock run out, and that's weird to me. Shoot the freaking ball, or we're throwing it up at the last second. To me, that's when you're in your head, and I think that can cost you in March versus, but when you do, you go and you drive and you get the free throw line and you make them. But it was shot clock violations. It was weirdly to the point that I'm talking about it after going to that game. I was like, they had that many. And I counted at least 5. And that was, it was 6, 7, something like that. So that's where I'm like, shoot the ball. You can't score. You don't score, you're not going to win.
Well, our free throw percentage was good. Last thing I'll say, free throw percentage was good. We were 88%. Our 3-point percentage was bad. We were 27%. We were 6 for 21. So there you go. That, want to know why they weren't shooting it? It's because they hadn't been making it all game. You get scared to take the shot late in the game because you don't want to be that guy that potentially gets yanked or clanks it off the back iron. Yeah. And you look like the guy that shot 10 seconds into the shot clock and missed a 3, right? Like, I get it, but you can't give up possessions. Ultimately, that's what's going to hurt you the most. It's the same thing as football. You can't turn over the ball.
No,
can't give the ball to the other team and give them more opportunities.
You can't have an offensive set and not at least get a shot up at the bucket. That's bad. And
that's my thing. I was like, you are giving up possessions if you're getting a shot clock violation.
Right.
But so that's, it's really, especially after a win, because, I guess we talked about football. Is there really such thing as an ugly win? No, you win. But at the same time, I think with the progression, there's still a lot to work on.
The roster construction is from the jump. I've always had a small issue with the roster construction, and we have a couple guys who were number ones on Power 5 or D1 teams. Like, say what you will, like Mitchell was a top guy, Timmy Allen was a top guy at Utah, Mitchell top guy at UMass, Dessou at Vandy, Carr obviously at Minnesota, and I think the issue, I had at the jump was a size issue, especially with Dessou out. We ran into that problem against Gonzaga when Timmy pretty much put an NBA stat line on us. Now I'm looking at it and the problems that we're kind of discussing. Okay, they have shot clock issues. They're not shooting the 3 very well. I feel like this team just doesn't have a true facilitator. And I don't need a guy coming in that's just like a mastermind passer, like a wizard. But I feel like we just have a bunch of 2s and 3s and 4s. And I really wish we would have had Jericho Sims would have been like an unbelievable stay if he could have stayed. He couldn't. He's a senior. But I really wish we had that guy who was, and I want it to be AJ and I want it to be Carr, but they just, I don't know. They kind of just don't do an unbelievable job creating for others, which kind of is my issue with the team, that we just don't have a true point guard. Like Carr, great job getting to the line, but he makes a lot of bad turnovers. I feel at times, like a lot of boneheaded, why Chuck's out of bounds, Chuck's behind the court. I've seen his hands go like this multiple times.
Not even like turnovers where someone's just stealing from him, or you're double dribble. Like it's literally just throwing it just to the side where no one is. And those are just careless.
Yeah. Toss, do you disagree that I feel like you were disagreeing that.
No,
combo guards.
I agree. I completely agree, especially on the kind of 3-4 point. I was just looking at it. My eye throughout the season has looked not at the guard position, but at the big position.
Right.
Mitchell, to me, completely underwhelms as a rebounder for as big as he is. He's averaging 4 rebounds a game. And I know like he's kind of a big that can stretch the floor, right? He shoots the 3 ball really, really well. He's high 30%, which you love to see. But when you're that size and we don't have anyone else who can bang down low, it becomes very apparent to me that he doesn't want to go grab a bunch of rebounds and stay around the rim and be on the weak side on offense. So someone's there for a quick little drop off pass, right? How many times do we see Kai Jones catch on the baseline, driving to the basket and rim run and dunk? Like,
I miss Kai Jones so much.
We miss a little bit of that. We miss that ability to play above the rim and challenge at the rim on defense too. It's just not really there with this team, which, you know, you kind of, you play the cards that you're dealt, right? But I would like to see some sets where Mitchell tries to assert himself more down low, and really just attack the rim and maybe get him some more post touches. And I don't know. That's what I notice is our rebounds. Like, we do have a lot of guys that are like 6'5" to 6'7", who Timmy Allen is our best rebounder, but that shouldn't be the case.
He's a really sound player, though. I like Allen.
Yeah, I like Allen a lot.
He's great.
Yeah.
To me, he's the most consistent part of our roster.
100%.
Well, he's physical too.
Yeah.
And even I will say, going to what you do see, the reason you have those lows and you stay in the game and you don't get blown out, their defense, they're working their butts off. You know, that about the Beard teams, they are working their butts off. Their movement, even Ramey had somewhat of a reputation of not playing as much defense. Well, he's not doing that here, and they'll go after him a little bit. I could see teams, rotating it to him and going one-on-one, but kudos to him. He got a couple of steals and he's certainly trying to compete. So defensively, man, they're working their butts off. We just need kind of that complete game, so to speak.
Yeah, I mean, you're right, Quan, because we gave up 51 points against the Big 12 team. And what is the Big 12 known? I mean, we all score. So, I mean, this is a Beard team. We're talking about getting yanked and, make offensive mistakes. If you don't play good defense, he's going to pull you, and rightfully so, because his Texas Tech teams are built in the backbone of defense. And I love the Mitchell point. I mean, honestly, it reminded me we used to play basketball at our Jewish fraternity. One of my buddies was like 6'2 and a half, 6'3", and it's like he's living, behind the arc. It's like, bro, we're at the Jewish fraternity. You're the only 6'3" mother effer out here. Go get down low, and get the boards. Can't wait to tell him I gave him a shout in our pod and send him the episode and timestamp, and that's what it is. But it's a good win. We needed that win at home after a disappointing K-State win. And obviously we spoke about it last time we were on the show. We just have a crazy stretch of games coming up. The Big 12 is just a gauntlet, and our next game we have, I believe is, let me double check. Yeah, that's it. TCU. And you know what? That's like we were discussing last time. That's a game that we got to win because we have Tennessee.
We have to, man. We really have to win that one because ultimately you have Baylor, in which they're not even, Tech right now leading the Big 12?
Yeah.
I think it's Tech. It's Tech, Kansas, and Baylor are the top 3.
Yeah, Kansas.
And then it kind of everyone at Kansas, then Tech, then Baylor, probably Kansas, Baylor, and Tech. But anyways, you want to be that 4th team, you got to beat TCU. And they're scrappy too. They're playing hard.
And right now they're the 4th team too. TCU is 4th right now. Yeah. So I mean, they're playing good ball.
You beat them, you jump in that spot. That's going to be super important when you're playing these other schools that are just so freaking good. Kansas is always going to be Kansas.
You get TCU. We get them later in February. Then we get Oklahoma one more time mid-February and West Virginia at the end of February. Those games have to be wins. Yeah. Because just like you're saying, those other teams are very, very good. And you want to go in thinking that you're going to beat Baylor twice, but with how good of a team they are, with how good of a team Kansas is, like, you just never know. So if you split with them, you feel good about that, right?
You feel real good if you split with every single one of them.
Yeah. So you beat the non-ranked teams. That's my point.
If we split Kansas, we have a chance to do something special because that team is good. Yeah. That is a national championship. I like the Baylor team. Obviously, I thought they're clearly better last year. Like the loss of Mitchell and Butler, there's no way you can't feel that. I mean, they're obviously exceptional this year. This Tech team is sneaky, But you watch this Kansas team, and this is a team top to bottom with experienced players. Obviously, Bill Self has, been there more times, can do with 3 shots tequila, hands tied behind his back and blindfolded. But that is a team that can really win the national title. So you split with them. We're getting the Josh Fisher drinking the Kool-Aid hard Kool-Aid sipping for me. Speaking of sipping Kool-Aid, Nick, you sometimes change your mind like a girl changes clothes on players, dude. You were the biggest Harold Perkins supporter, and then before you got on Quan, Nick wasn't sure that he wanted Harold Perkins, who decommitted from A&M and is now available. He's looking at Florida, looking at Miami. He's looking basically at every school across the board. We spoke about the Gary Patterson hire last week when you were in Florida, Quan. Would love to hear your thoughts on maybe potentially getting Perkins, but more importantly, what Gary Patterson brings to the table and how you feel about that.
Dude, if I'm being real honest about this Patterson thing, when I saw him at Burnt Orange, it felt really strange. Like to see the horn when him and CDC are at the game, like that photo op wasn't staged, by the way, but it was weird. And I think it's still a little bit weird. However, I'm sure y'all talked about it. As long as PK doesn't feel like he's peeking over his shoulder, it can't be bad. And at the end of the day, even if you do, because pressure, bust pipes, you if it makes you better, I mean, surely he has years and years of success at TCU and certainly more Big 12 experience and damn sure is one of the best developers of whomever is on that side of the ball. So the role I'm hearing and him kind of oversight, watching film, giving feedback, man, I love that. Some of the best leaders I have had that person. You almost can call him a deputy to a certain degree from a football standpoint. And we've talked about it a bazillion times. Who has more people like that than anybody in college ball is Nick Saban. And he has a championship or 30. And so let's certainly if that's the model they're trying to emulate, I'm pumped up for it. I want to see what's up. It does feel weird. I'm not even gonna lie. Every time I see him in it feels weird because he was really easy to dislike when he was at TCU. But yeah, I'm fired up about it. If it's gonna help us at this point, try every damn thing on the planet because that defense has to get better, and hopefully he can help them get there.
Yeah, I feel like his hands are probably cramping every time he throws up the horns.
Dude, serious. It still feels weird even thinking about that.
It's super bizarre.
He recruited against us so hard and talked about the big school and all that. But again, if he's all in and he gets that defense to be relevant or more, because we all believe in Sark's ability to call plays and have a productive offense, especially with the pieces that we've added. We just got old boy from Wyoming, and so
super pumped about that one.
Dude, he looks Nair. Yeah, he looks really good. So I just feel like the Big 12 defense is played against him, and from our standpoint, we're putting up mid 40s to 50 points a game. So he's like, are the defense really that good or not? And all that. But if you can get that stop, even in the national championship, there's no Vince, there's no stop if you don't get that 4th and 2. So you need that defense to get a stop when needed to get the offense back on and to win you a few games.
Yeah, I think the recruiting aspect of what Gary brings to the table is something that's another overshadowed thing. I mean, we've got Sarkisian and we got Patterson, basically 2 head coaches coming in here who are great recruiters, and the fact that we're back in play for Harold Perkins, like Josh just mentioned at the top of that question. To give you a little context, Harold Perkins had like a little interview on Twitter at the Hawaiian Bowl or something, Polynesian Bowl. And basically they're asking him, like, how do you feel about the A&M fans, giving you dirt for decommitting? He's like, yeah, I don't really care about that. Like, I don't give a damn what they think about me. And then he basically asked them about all the visits he's taking, like at Florida and Miami, LSU. And basically, like, a lot of his responses were just kind of centered around like, yeah, LSU is really not trying for me that hard, that not as they should. Florida's got all these packages created for me. They thought I could be on Wildcat. They want to roll me down a dime. Like, it's just all about him. And I get it, when you're a 5-star recruit, a top 5 recruit in the nation. But I want guys that want to buy into programs because they want to make the programs better, right? Not make themselves better. And of course that comes with it. I mean, any player that goes to a program, like, of course they want to become a pro after that, but it starts with making the team around you better. So I don't really know based off that one interview if we can, say who he is or who he isn't, but I still want him on my team. I mean, I think he's a generational, type talent. I mean, the kid's a beast on the field, but what Patterson can bring to the field, recruiting these defensive players is what I'm trying to get at, is something that, we should always consider as a huge strength for him.
And I think culturally, the word on the street is some of the kind of eye guys is the ones that have been in the portal. Sarkis looking for something more synergistic. Football is the ultimate team sport. So we don't know if he can't conform to that, and certainly would have to take that perspective. Gary Patterson dang sure can help from that standpoint. He had some great ones, and we saw last night. Hughes is still in the league. It's nuts. He's still doing it so well. So and the list goes on from a Patterson standpoint. So culturally, he's going to have to pick what fits for him. Big 12 is a little bit, again, they're all that now. They're all spread offense, spread defense. I mean, you have to prepare for it. But I get the hesitation. But at the same time, we'll also be cheering if he chooses Texas on every way, form or fashion. And I'll go over there and like, hey, bro, go team, let's go. But man, I feel you on that, because I think a lot of the guys at the door were more about themselves and not the culture and the Longhorns and the team.
It's hard to have that perspective too, as a 18-year-old, knowing that really what actually is best for you as an eye is to buy into the we first. And then you get put in the right position by guys whose professional job it is to coach you. Right. And then you end up going to the league at the position that you're supposed to be there at. Right. So, I mean, you gotta want to buy into that. And it's easy for us to say now we're not 18 anymore, but we were different back then. All of us were. Maybe we weren't like that, but we're different.
And keep in mind, it's a kid who is literally probably the best athlete to ever come through his school, or he's the best athlete at his school right now. He's the man, right? He's on top of the world. So he is the team right now for where he's at. But yeah, I mean, it's interesting what you said, Quan, about the transfer portal. There's a lot of eye guys, and it's true. I mean, you look at Ewers, like he wants to leave Ohio State because he wants to play more. And I understand that. Right. But like, you look at Isaiah Naylor, we just talked about, leaving Wyoming, a smaller school, goes to a big Texas school where he's going to make an impact immediately. So there are some, good things that can come out of some of the eye guys. They want to advance their careers, but
yeah, totally. I mean, you can't blame him. Look, he wants to go pro. I'm sure he's averaging 20 yards of reception. He sees what Xavier Worthy's doing over there as a freshman, going across from him. Like, Nair's not the number one guy. Like, Worthy's our number one option. No ifs, ands, and buts about it. If, God willing, Whittington could stay healthy, he's probably our number 2. So Nair is just like our number 3.
And those 3 with them healthy.
Whittington's like their third down guy. Like, Nair, he's going to be in one-on-one the whole time. Like, and he's big, 12 touchdowns in the red zone. Like,
we get in the red area. That guy is a target.
He's a menace.
He can get up.
Yeah, he's a menace.
We're missing a good point though about this recruit though.
Yeah.
I don't even put him in the full decommit. Dude, he chose not to go to College Station. Let's be real here. That portion of it makes me, okay, this guy does have some sense, because he chose not to go. Now that's my bias on every level, but I actually think, to a certain degree, they have a phenomenal class that you can't change that. Some say number 1 in the nation, but interesting enough, I mean, from what I hear, and this is again rumors, but is he pulling Eric Dickerson, or what's going on over here? So kudos to him at the end of the day. Aggies, you can make them mad easily, but reopening this thing, and hopefully he picks a school that best fits and he conforms to that culture and makes it different, because he has all the ability, and I want everybody to win, whether it's or not.
Yeah, I mean, look, like he commits to us, like shirts off, crack a cold one, like I'm here for it. But I do just get a little wishy-washy on guys who are wishy-washy. You know what I'm saying? and I understand him.
Yeah,
like,
speaking of USC, isn't Brew McCord in the transfer portal again?
I was just about to say that.
That's a whole nother conversation, you know.
Is he coming back? Like, we run it back? We're
we're good. We're good.
Exactly. Yeah, we're good. Like, I mean, like, look, you know.
Sorry to cut you off really quickly, Josh, but like, just to that point really quickly, you look at a guy like Tate Martell, who decommitted from Texas A&M to go to Ohio State, left Ohio State, went to Miami, then went to UNLV, and is now done with football.
Is going to Tech, like, cool.
I think he is an extreme. I think I truly do. But that is the world we're in now, man. I think there's over 600 players in the portal this offseason. That is bizarro world. But at the same time, if you can do your due diligence, vet very well, and get, you know, a generational guy, then I think, like a Quinn, like some of the other ones that I feel can make the best out of it. One transfer with some changes and stuff like that, we're going to give you a pass, but Martell's a whole nother monster, Brew, whole another deal. So hopefully he's just one of those guys.
Show to the Buffalo Chicken and call it a day. Like, we can't keep changing our mind every time the waiter comes over. Pivoting a little quickly, obviously we do Texas on the show, but we all love football in general. Quan, you played for the Bengals, a team that literally the last time they won a playoff game was before we were born, like the three of us.
Well, I didn't win one. I went to the playoffs, but we did not win.
Yeah, no,
the Jets.
That's tough.
Hey, that's back when they were good. They actually made it to the AFC Championship, I think 3 years in a row at one point. That was the team. Not the current state, not the Jets, y'all know.
I got all the love in the world for you, but you lost to Mark Sanchez.
Bart Scott, you know, butt fumble Sanchez.
I was there for that one. I was literally in the stands for the butt fumble. It was crazy. What do you think of the Bengals, man, and like their culture shifts? Because when you were there, y'all couldn't close.
I'm thinking about going to the game Sunday. I think it was, dude. You go back to the game they had in Cincinnati. It was phenomenal. It was insane. Field goal, crazy, fourth down, all the gibberish. Burrow is the real deal. We've always seen that. When I saw him in Austin, I was like, ooh, it's just something about that guy. And people are starting to see kind of his swag. Great team guy. Chase.
Can you imagine if they kept him clean in the pocket? He got sacked 9 times and still won.
Freaking, well, that's more the Bengals I know, but he makes up for it, which is crazy. And they're so explosive. It's why, you know, coaches harp on explosive plays so much. If he can get, you know, the defense is holding their own, and he can get Chase, you know, and Higgins 3 or 4 touchdowns, they got a shot, even after 9 sacks. So, dude, just so fun to watch those cats. But just, was this not the most epic freaking weekend of NFL playoff games? And I don't do that. I don't like comparisons.
I think all time, honestly.
But this was insane.
Every game ended in a game winner, a last second game winner. 3 field goals and 1 walk-off touchdown.
And the cherry on top of just game of all games, like a game that if people start making their list, they need to include.
They have to include it. Are you kidding me?
The Buffalo Kansas City game was unreal. I'm seeing memes everywhere that are like, this was the team that lost. This was what lost Buffalo the game, and it's a quarter. It's literally the coin flip. Right?
And again, and of course we know it's more than that, and that argument's going to be forever. But I'm gonna tell you how crazy that game was. I was sitting there watching it, and I haven't really had that football blood pump in a long time. And watching that game till overtime, I told my wife, I said, "Hey, come check, not in a negative way, because I was so fired up. I said, can you check my blood pressure?" And she's like, and I'm not even gonna tell you what it was. She's like,
crazy.
Are you? That's not okay. And she's in the medical world. She's like, I was like, this is what it is on the football field. I was like,
this is why we play the game.
Like I am about to go play this game. Yeah. She's like, it's really that high? That's not healthy. So I was so freaking fired up. I had to go on the patio, take a little swig of bourbon. I needed to relax. That game was so damn fun and live.
More points in the last 2 minutes than the 49ers and Packers did through 4 quarters.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That weekend for me was one of the most stressful weekends of my life, honestly. Like seriously, I betonline.ag.
Tell them what happened.
I went to Vegas actually to see my mom because she had tickets to go see Adele this weekend. Adele ended up canceling, and so yeah, no, it's tragedy. She canceled her entire tour or postponed it, and so like a lot of people are out of money.
She's gonna get money back though. So tell your mom to get her bread.
Oh, she will, but everyone else who booked plane tickets and hotels.
Oh no, she's gonna give all that back too.
Oh really?
Yeah, so they're setting up some separate foundation.
Hear that, Mom? You hear that?
I just saw that this morning, actually,
Nice.
which is so funny and random.
Nice.
But I just saw that this morning. Suppose you're going to set up a separate one and refund all that. So
Right.
That's
we'll see.
awesome.
But regardless, went to Vegas, put down a 14 parlay. I had the Bengals, I had the Rams, I had the Bills, unfortunately, who lost, and I had the Packers. And that was just the most stressful weekend of my life because I was just like, oh my gosh, like every game is just like nonstop bananas. Like it could go either way. And I also had the Bills to win the Super Bowl at the beginning of the season as well. So if you want to enjoy stress like that with me, go to betonline.ag and also get stressed out.
Yeah, I've been Team Chiefs. I mean, look, the Bills had them in the coin, yes. The decision to kick it to a touchback is highly questionable.
Oh,
but you're like
100%.
sitting like 13 seconds.
Everybody on the planet was saying squib the damn thing. It's mind-boggling.
Yeah, I said
Right.
I said it to my roommates, and I was like, squib this thing, and you got 13 seconds. And I know Mahomes is unbelievable, but if you're the number one defense or a top tier defense, you have the first of all, they have the number one defensive backfield. They have the number one safety duo in Hyde. And why am I blanking on the name? And then you can't get a stop. Like you Kelsey, how do you let Kelsey just kind of
Kelsey
come
up the seam for 25
Well, they were playing
yards?
they were
Yeah,
playing
I'm gonna say
sideline
so.
defense.
Schematically, that's kudos to Bieniemy and what's my man Andy Reeves because they have the number one when they're in base and exotic and regular defense. At that time, you're playing this weird prevent, blah, 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 blah. I have seen a lot of, I nerd out on football, especially on plays and schemes. I've never seen the two kind of pick cool routes. That screen they ran to Tyreek, and let's be real, that guy cuts up the field in 2 seconds. He's so dangerous. And then the other one, design play, kind of running out. It was so damn well done. So yes, number one defense, but you knew you weren't playing your regular defense. So kudos to KC. It's still crazy. They got it done. And they had 3 timeouts.
Yeah.
So that was the other thing that I think Buffalo didn't factor in, that they were going to get 60 yards in 2 plays. But it was why I was so pumped because I was nerded out. I was like, these are 2 of the best freaking teams. It sucks that one of them have to lose, but we are so damn fortunate to see what we saw.
Oh, we knew it'd be the best game.
It was just so well done. It was some of the best football I think I've seen on the NFL level in a very long time.
I mean, they make 4th and 17 and they don't kick. And I'm like, oh my gosh, McDermott, like I get what you're doing. I don't know if it's going to pay off. This is so risky. I know you still have your 3 timeouts. So, okay, if the Chiefs get the ball back, you rely on your defense to stop them. You can get the ball back again. But it's just so many probabilities that you're throwing out there. And then he throws it to Gabriel Davis for his 4th touchdown. And I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Gabriel Davis put that guy on skates.
Oh, dude, that poor guy, as the young kids say, he got bodied. I think, and it was just so freaking well done. I mean, on every level, the dramatics lived up to it. The route running, the record breaking, and to lose. It was just crazy. How about this one though? This is what is a little bit surprised. I think I heard this morning. Mahomes actually had more rushing yards than Josh Allen. 69-60, I think it was. I had no idea. I was like, there's no way. Because Josh Allen is such a bruiser and a punisher, and they use him in the running game. But I know Mahomes had that super long one. But dude, I still get pumped like it was last night. They're just all those games have me freaking fired up.
The almost Brady comeback and then then the
ridiculous.
Triple
that
crown
guy,
winner Cooper Kupp just having what are you not going to cover that guy? You're not going to cover the guy that won the Triple Crown.
Dude,
you're going to slot blitz off the guy that won the Triple Crown. What are you doing?
Dude, thinking of good safety play, Tampa Bay, what the hell were they doing? Cup just scored. I mean, double. It was just, again, on so many levels, it was just wild. It was crazy. It was awesome. And kudos to Stafford, who didn't miss those reads. You know, some of the question was that guy open. He could have checked down. He could have got happy feet or whatever, but he stood in there and he made some plays. And St. Louis, for a second there, I was like, row, these cats are on the next level. But when you're playing the GOAT, good luck. He's gonna make a run for it.
First of all, Cam Akers, 2 hands on the football.
Yeah.
Second of all,
2 fumbles.
Yeah.
Two terrible, crucial fumbles.
The Brady thing is like a movie every time. Like, it's like the most ridiculous
really
situations like ever. Like, the guy is like, it's never like normal. It's never like he either goes in and kicks the shit out of them, or he comes in and it's like Malcolm Butler, the 28. Look, he did it to 28-3. And I was watching the game with my old man. I was like, 27-3, like this is nothing for the guy. He did 28-3. This is a walk in the park. I mean, and he literally came back, and it was like, you give him an inch, he takes a mile. You leave the door crack open, he comes in, robs you blind, and takes your wife. It's like every time the guy.
And the theatrics is the blood on the lip.
It's just like the guy is like a cinema star.
Can't make this crap up, dude.
He's a Hollywood movie star. I mean, I'm happy for Stafford though. I'm happy for obviously I love Tom Brady with all my heart, but as like a football fan, I always like a little change up. The Honey Badger getting hurt was huge in the KC game. You see that how Gabriel Davis kind of dominated over the top. Andy Reid honestly game managed pretty well, having those timeouts. I mean, that game is just and the craziest part of my favorite part of the whole KC Bill game. Go back and watch Tyreek Hill score that last touchdown he scores when he just runs. But yeah, the deuces to a guy who was ahead of him. The guy is like ahead of him, 4 yards ahead of him, and he throws the deuces at him when he's ahead of him. It's like, bro, what?
I mean,
it's the coldest thing.
Go look at the guy he gave the deuces to, though.
Yeah.
There's a reason why he did it.
He was like a linebacker, man. There's some linebackers that run 4.4s, 4.5s.
Yeah, but you know what the craziest part of that play was, outside of the deuces, was that he got held for like 7 yards. The defensive back that was on him held him for a good 7 yards, and then he finally broke free with his speed.
And it would look like they were in 2-man. That guy's job is to hold him and not let him go inside. But he goes outside it. He broke an in route with the inside leverage. It was nuts. And Pat trusted him, just boom, hit him, and then he runs like the flash past him. It was just, again, dude. It's so
Poyer
much
was the other safety.
Poyer, yeah.
Poyer,
and then
Poyer.
and Money Mac, Shooter McPherson, the rookie kicker.
He's great.
Had an epic game.
Oh, all the kickers. What a weekend for kickers. As my man Pat McAfee would say, for the brand. It was a heck of a weekend for the brand this weekend.
Not the Packers kickers though, because they got a punt blocked and a field goal blocked.
Yeah, Mason had a tough year.
Special teams matter. Yeah,
they really do.
Because you saw even Tyreek get back there on the punt return and return it.
And then they only got 3. That was one of the biggest mistakes of the game by the KC offense. Quan, I texted these guys earlier today, and I'd love to know this is kind of a fun question, but do you think that with how many people watch these NFL playoff games, you can still recruit with your play once you get to the NFL as far as recruiting for college? Like, am I a kid that's growing up in Baton Rouge right now? And I'm on the fence. I'm Harold Perkins, hypothetically. And I go see what Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow are doing. And with the way that they play the game, how much swag they have, and what they represented for LSU, like, does that make an impact on your decision-making as a high schooler? Because I know for me, those are the guys that I looked up to, right? The guys in the NFL, the guys that were doing it in the bigs. What do you think about that?
I think it does, because even as crazy as it, those guys are actually easily outplaying OBJ. I mean, he still has the catch, and he's an LSU guy as well. So what collectively their guys, we talk about it all the time from a DBU standpoint. It's just a matter of getting back to it and living up to it. I saw, what's my man, Chris Boyd, on one of the games. He's like, University of Texas, DBU. So yeah, I think it matters. I think that those little things like that certainly do. And I'm gonna tell you, when it really starts to creep up. And some schools do this well, some don't. When you have that big game and it's a recruiting day and you're all there, and Chase and all these guys are on the sideline repping their LSU gear, you want to be down there with them. You're like, hey, I need to come to this school. I want to be them one day. And so that's where a lot of schools have to get that. You have to have that caliber talent plan. But I think that's where it factors in for sure.
I think, I do like legacy guys, right? Like when Jamal Charles was tearing up the league. If I was a running back in high school, a guy like Jonathan Gray, I'm like, I want to be Jamal Charles when I get to the NFL, you know?
Oh, for sure. No,
no one, he didn't get to that point, but I can see how that would be the mindset, right? Because legacy is always something that you're thinking about.
You know what's crazy, and to speak about that, I know we hadn't reached our goals and our potential in a while, but we still have a pretty damn decent amount of guys in the league, and so little things like that. And fortunately for them, especially with the Sark era starting, they all like Sark, and Sark did a phenomenal job of, hey, please bring every letterman we can back in the league, out of the league, all the above. So those things will start factoring in, and that's when they do. And Michael Huff is still on campus, and they have a junior day or something, and they want us to come help. A lot of guys, even old school like us that are long removed, go and you know, do what we can do to kind of show it up. So it does factor in. And if the schools, some are a little more strategic than others on how you do that. But heck yeah, man, when you see those cats and they're still repping the horns, and what I say all the time too is we all live back in Austin, so it makes it a little bit easier. Some of these schools can't do it because who the hell is moving back to Tuscaloosa?
Yeah.
And so that's where it factors in just a little bit more.
I thought you were gonna poo-poo on College Station one more time.
But
it's too easy. It's too easy.
Don't even get me started.
And by the way, that's a great point. Who the hell is moving back to College Station? No one.
True. They're
moving to Austin.
There's 3 teams left in the playoffs that have Longhorns on them. You got the Bengals, Trey Hopkins, Joseph Osai, who's on injured reserve. You got Alex Okafor on the Chiefs, and you got Amenahue on the Niners, along with head coach Kyle Shanahan.
Yes, sir.
Dang.
So support your Longhorns.
So we're not rooting for the Rams. We're pretty much rooting for everything but the Rams this weekend.
They got the Aggie. They have Von Miller, although he's a good dude. But
he's sick.
Always rooting for the Horns.
Quick shout out to you. Bring up Jamal Charles, who I cannot say is I think on our lifetime maybe the most underrated NFL running back I've ever seen. That guy was probably one of the fastest running backs I've ever seen in my life. He was so nasty in Kansas City.
I think he owns the average yards per run record still.
That's what I was typing up.
I think it's 5 to 6 yards, or right at like 5.6, 5.7, something like that. So JC was so fun to play with, so fun to watch. Here and when he was with the Chiefs, it was a beast.
He ran for 1,500 yards in 2010 at 6.4 yards per carry.
Damn,
that's nuts.
Like, how is that possible?
Yeah, well, when you have 3 like 85-yard touchdown runs, like that makes a big impact, because once that guy gets to the second level, I mean, there's guys like that. You talk about Tyreek Hill, you talk about Jamar Chase. If that first guy misses either of those 2 dudes or Jamal when he was back in the day, they're gone. It doesn't matter who's in the secondary. It really doesn't. Like, they're just that fast.
That's crazy, bro. That team, they had him and Thomas Jones. That was a nasty duo.
TJ.
A nasty duo. All right. Horns fans, thanks for joining us. Quan, great to have you back after a week off. Toss, Nick, always a pleasure. We're the Horns Up Talking Texas podcast. Let's get that win against TCU. Get your horns up. See you next time.
Yes, sir.